And welcome back, everyone. And by popular request, by one particular viewer of mine, I was planning to see it regardless, don't worry. But by popular request, now that my local Cinemark is open throughout the week now, not just Friday through Sunday, and they finally worked out that thing with Disney, I finally went to see Raya and the Last Dragon. I remember seeing the trailer for it, and I'm like, oh, this looks good and decent. Looks, at least visually, looks nice. And it's Disney's standard animation. It's not Pixar. So I'm like, okay, how is this going to play out? And I was hearing mostly positive things about it. Is it like one of the best movies there is? No, I wasn't hearing anything of that praise. But I was hearing it was a really, really good movie. So I went in, watched it, and yeah, I mean, I can't really say anything else about that except it's a really, really good movie. I'll get to the one logic problem I had later on, but there's one logic problem I had, and as far as I can tell, they didn't explain it away, but whatever. So I mean, story is Raya is in a she hopes I was a lone rider in a post-apocalyptic wasteland. Kind of that is. It's world torn. There are these creatures. I suppose you can call creatures. They're like just demonic, malevolent energy beings named Durgs or Droogs or Durg. I think it's Durgs. And basically they absorb like life force and energy and basically turn people into statues that usually do this, but they can be other forms still. And what kept the world together was this gem created by the last dragon, by a dragon Sisu, who was voiced by Awkwafina. And the gem, the long story short, and I'm not really spoiling much because this is all mostly in the trailer anyway, and plus the movie's been out now for a couple months. But for the few of you who haven't seen it, I'm not doing any real solid spoilers, like how the movie actually, like, oh, this happened, that person didn't make it out, this person, I'm not doing that. And I'm not saying that happened, I'm just making a point. But anyway, the gem that is protected gets broken, shattered in like 5 pieces. And basically the Droogs come back. And basically she's now got to go on a mission to collect the gems, find the last dragon, bring the world back together. So it's, and right off the bat, they open in the present, but that's only like 5 minutes, not even 5 minutes, like 30 seconds maybe. And then we spend a whole 20 minutes on basically the backstory of how this happened. And it basically, the whole theme of the movie can really be summed up in the character, in that one scene, in the one opening scene revealing how this went down, and Sisu herself. The theme of the movie, it's a theme we don't really look at very often in movies. Because we look at, shouldn't judge a book by its cover theme, the ugly duckling theme, good versus evil thing. But the real idea in this movie, without going too in depth into how they deal with it, is trust. The whole movie is basically a commentary on the trust that we put in others, others put in ourselves, and what we do to break that trust, and what we can do to earn that trust back, and how hard it is for us to trust. And they really explore that a lot. Like, they keep bringing up in the movie. And Raya keeps bringing out how she can't trust people, but it's Sisu who's the one who still believes in, in people and trust, and the idea you can still put trust in people. And they really tackle it in actually a very interesting way, leading up to the climax, which I won't spoil anything about the climax, but the climax in like the last third, they do a few things that you're not expecting. I'm not going to say exactly who plays like the biggest part in this, but it's not what you think. Like, normally, like in these movies, you get the main character. I will spoil that a little bit. Raya wasn't the answer to. Raya was and she wasn't. I won't say any more than that. But they really kind of subvert expectations of that, which I really appreciated on that. The animation, like I thought, was gorgeous. The scene where Sisu, it's Awkwafina's character. The dragon's name is Sisu. So anytime you want to know about the dragon, I say Sisu, I'm talking about the dragon. Sisu, there's a animation, or there's scenes of her walking on air, but like walking on water drops, and it is just gorgeous to look at. Like all the animation pops is just beautiful, and vibrant. Even like in the dark, murky scenes, it's still extremely beautiful. Even the Drurgs still look cool and actually have like a great like living black cloud of purple masses. It's real. It's a really well animated film. It's beautiful to look at. If I had the option of seeing this 3D, I'd still take the 2D. But if it was the only option, I probably wouldn't have regretted seeing this in 3D. Or an IMAX or a XD. I did not see this in my XD theater. Because there's not, the closest IMAX I think is in freaking Connecticut. And I'm not going all the way to Connecticut just to see a movie. It would have to be like, maybe I would have gone for like Godzilla vs. Kong or an Avengers. Something that is like huge event film IMAX. That's IMAX for me. But, of course, I've never been to an IMAX theater, so I can't say that for certain. All the characters are well voiced. I believe it's Benedict Wong, or maybe is that his name? Basically, the guy who plays Wong in Doctor Strange in the Marvel Universe. He voices a barbarian kind of guy. If I wasn't mistaken, I didn't stay to the end credits. I could have swore Betty White voiced the character in this. I probably did wrong because I believe every actor or actress in this movie was of Asian descent. And it makes sense. This is a very Asian inspired film. Asian culture, basically Asian people involved. Like the people in the film itself are clearly of Asian descent. There is no other nationality in this film. That's fine. No, I'm completely cool with that. No big deal. If anything, it's really nice to see that side of the culture. Better than Over the Moon was, that's for certain. I got a review for Over the Moon up. You can check out that. I didn't hate it, but I didn't love it. I will say this too. I am someone who's torn on Awkwafina. But really, I think the reason I'm torn on it is I haven't seen a huge body of her work. There's a film, is it called The Farewell? I think it's called The Farewell. That apparently she is fantastic in, that I have yet to see. I remember, I know she's in Crazy Rich Asians, but based on what I've seen of her, I can tell I probably wouldn't have been a big fan of her in that movie. And mostly, I don't know if I would have been a big fan of that movie to begin with. Again, I'm just judging based on what I saw. I could be dead wrong. I haven't seen it yet. Maybe at some point I'll watch it. Maybe I won't. Who knows? But yeah, I just haven't had really a big sample size of her. And she's going to be in Shang-Chi or Shang-Chi, depending on your pronunciation. I'll probably be sticking with Shang-Chi. And I can... if there's anything from the trailer that makes me dubious, I feel like Awkwafina does, because I get a Darcy vibe off her. And Darcy is good in small doses. That's Kat Dennings' character from Thor and WandaVision. Like, I actually really liked her in WandaVision. Thor 1, she toes the line. Thor 2, couldn't stand her. Okay, man, I couldn't stand her. That's not right. Did not like her. She just too... I like Kat Dennings too a lot, but I don't know. The Darcy character is good in small doses or in the right doses. WandaVision was the right dose because she played to that character's strength. I'm getting a similar. Again, we only seen the one trailer, so I can't say we can't say anything until I see the movie. To be fair, but I get the same vibe from that from Shang-Chi I got, and from her that I got from Darcy in the Thor movies and WandaVision. With that said. And it's weird to say because I think the issue I have, and it's nothing against her per se. Oh wait, no, I remember she was also in Jumanji Next Level. She was fine. Yeah, she was fine. I can't say it's like I was blown away, but she was fine. And I think it's weird to say because of what I'm about to say. I think it's her voice. I don't know if is a smoker, or if that's just her natural voice or anything. She's got that really raspy voice. When she's kind of yelling or just speaking loudly, I can hear more of a smoker's voice. But I have also heard her speak normally, like in this movie. And while I can hear that gruffness, I think she's just got a naturally husky voice. Now, that all being said, her voice actually lends really well to this character. Sisu the dragon is very fluid. She's very energetic. But when she needs to put the emotion on, she can put the emotion on. There are scenes that are there are a lot of scenes in the movie, not even just involving Sisu, but there are a lot of scenes that definitely weigh in on the emotion. And as... Well, I'll say, I'm a grown man, I can admit this. I was tearing up at the end because of what was going on. Because, okay, obviously they saved the day, so you don't need to worry about that too much. I mean, there would have been movies where that wasn't quite the case, but you could tell that wasn't the case. So when I see families reunited, people that have been technically, I mean, they're not dead technically, but they're dead. Dead and missing and just gone for 6 years, as they put. I see that reunited, you know, my mind immediately was going to like, what if I could just have one more day with my mom? I'd do anything for that one more day. A lot of us who've lost parents and loved ones would do anything for that, just that one more day. And so, you know, my mind was immediately going to that. So I was starting to get emotional. I had tears. I wasn't like flat out bawling or anything. But I'm a man to a man. Like, nah, yeah. I was starting to get emotional, and I was starting to get some tears in my eyes. No, yeah, and things like that hit me more now because my mom passed. Than they did originally. I'm not saying I still wouldn't have gotten emotional or anything like that if my mom were still around. I'm just saying I can appreciate those moments a lot more and more effectively and differently now that I've experienced that kind of loss in my life. But no, like I said, it's beautifully animated. The side characters are a lot of fun. Like there are no, like the baby, the little con baby is adorable and hilarious. The little boat driver kid, the little restaurant kid, I thought he was fun. He wasn't annoying, which is more than I can say for, again, that Over the Moon brother, which, oh God. Yeah, he was a bit much. So yeah, and they illustrate the idea that all the dragons had unique powers. Sisu, though, as you see in the trailer, is like, you know that one kid that participated in the group project but didn't quite pull their weight but still got the same grade? That's me. Sisu's power was she's a really good swimmer, which actually does help them out. But all the dragons had different abilities. One of her sisters was a changeling. One of her other sisters could glow. One of her brothers could produce fog. One of her brothers could produce rain. And that's where the one logic problem I had. I overlooked it pretty quick, but in my mind I'm like, oh, I'm talking about that. So these droogs, they are the dragon gem, or the crystal gem repels them and all that, and they were able to wipe them out, or at least keep them at bay. But they're also repelled by water. Okay. So rain is made of, I think, hydrogen and oxygen, which, if I'm not mistaken, makes H2O, commonly known as water. So how is it that the dragons were overwhelmed? Like, was the brother who made the rain just not able to make enough rain? Because let's be very clear. When we see her make rain, it's pretty much downpouring rain. So how does, and like these things are repelled by even just little bits of water, like a little stream is enough to keep them at bay to a certain degree. At least they can't touch it. So if you're coating an entire area with water, shouldn't that like burn them to death? Now that I say this more and more, this is like a really, because if they explained why the brother couldn't do that, I would understand. Like, if magic seemed to drain them to the point where I can't do it anymore, I would accept that. But they also all poured their energy to make this crystal. So he clearly had energy to spare, and he could probably make more rain. And they were surrounded by water, by the way, in the scene where the dragons are like fighting him off. So, because that's what keeping the dragons, or the droogs at bay. So I'm like, why doesn't the rain work? I'm sorry. Now, the more I talk about this, the more I do really like this movie, by the way. This is like the one nitpick, but it's kind of a big nitpick. By your own movie's own logic, it's a really big nitpick without an explanation. A problem without an explanation, because you didn't explain why the brother didn't do it. You didn't explain if the rain was enough water to actually do it. By all implications, because they were repelled by water, that should have worked. So, in theory, this one dragon should have been able to wipe out the majority of these things on his own. But, okay, for the sake of argument, maybe he just didn't have the energy to do it. That's the one explanation I can come up with, but they never explain it. And that's a really big plot hole. It's like, wait, you guys could have just, aren't there other dragons that can manipulate water? I mean, come on. Anyway, So while that is a nitpick and kind of a big one, otherwise I was able to overlook it pretty quick just for the sake of the story. And look, it's a good story. It's a good story. It's got a great moral to it. The characters are fun. It's got some great emotional moments. Got some fun action too. It's beautiful to look at. It's kind of a whole package, really. If you can just look over that one little gripe, then yeah, you're good. You're golden. With the short we got too, Us Again. That was a very sweet short. First off, and people keep the whole wokeness. I'm getting sick of cancel culture and the whole wokeness thing. I'm like, okay, whatever. But I say that to be like, you know, I keep bringing me more like you diverse couples. We have an interracial couple, a black woman and a white man, older couple, and she's trying. I feel like this would be me and my wife or partner down the line when I'm like that old. Although hopefully I still look like this. I doubt it, but who knows? I can log out. And he just doesn't want to get up and move anymore. And then he sees how he's kind of like, you know, neglecting his wife. But then he like goes out in the rain, and the rain somehow turns them young again. Never explained at all. I like to believe that they're an ancient species that only is rejuvenated in the rain. But but they're near extinct, and they've kind of got forgotten it because they got mild dementia. Then the rain turns them back young. So basically, they're dancing it. There's no dialogue whatsoever. But anytime the rain, isn't touching them anymore, they stop being young again. So, and a husband is just like trying to hold on to that youth again. And ultimately, it's him kind of being like,